Moving on. Video for the Combat Sports channel. First upload. I couldn't think of any other better way to do for the first upload of the channel. Ooh, fuck. I didn't mean to do it like that. Other than an MMA Goat List. I feel like that's the first thing you need to establish when you're making a Combat Sports channel. You need to list your top 20 MMA goats of all time. Goats of all time. Yeah, man. So the way I think of it, right, and like what credits you as a goat is, like, I think, obviously the dominance of your division at the time plays a huge factor. I don't think, I don't think some people have this like kind of idea that, like, the more recent, goats are, the more you dominate your division these days over the last, it matters more, which I do think it does to an extent, but I still think you need to, like, look back at some of the old, like, the old fighters, the old generations. Sorry, my voice just randomly got sore. Not good at this talking thing, apparently. But yeah, I still think a lot of the old generation matters a lot, and I still think some of the skills they display was well enough. I do think, obviously if someone dominates a lot these days, then yeah, it's important, but there's that. There's, obviously how long you were champion, how well you were able to display your credits, how, like, the division you were reigning over at the time. I'm not good at listing, like, what it takes to be a GOAT, but you know what it is, man. I'll get into it as we go through here, man. Let's start this list, dude. Number 20. This is the top 20, by the way. So there's a lot of omissions. I'm not gonna list them all. I'll list the important ones as we get through, because people will be connected to them. So let's just get through some of these first ones. Number 20. Matt Hughes. Again, so immediately, right? People are like, what the fuck? What is this old head ass doing here? Bro, listen. Matt Hughes, welterweight division. This guy was so fucking ahead of his time, bro. This guy was super, super crafty. Super, super, like, he had a very high fight IQ for someone at the time. And he absolutely fucked on everyone in the division, bro. Like, he's one of two guys to have a win over Georges St-Pierre. Both times he held the welterweight title twice, and both times they would be the longest active reigns in the UFC. So it just goes to show you how, like, how fiercely competitive and consistent Matt Hughes was in his prime. So that's my number 20. Number 19 is Cain Velasquez. What a fucking knockout artist at heavyweight, dude. This guy was the next big thing. And he really was. He cemented his legacy. He's one of the most dominant heavyweights at the time. I think when he did become champion, he was seen as, like, the greatest heavyweight of all time. So I don't totally disagree with that. He beat Brock Lesnar in dominant fashion. He beat Junior Dos Santos. They had their amazing trilogy. He came away with the big winner of that. Yeah, he looked great in a lot of his fights, man. And, yeah, super, super scary guy. Very scary guy for the time, dude. So, God is, the usual heavyweight, dominant heavyweight title reigns in there. 2-time champ, that's good. That's always good for your case as goated. But he is one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Number 18, Randy Couture. Again, listen, man. I get it. Listen, man. Old head ass mentality, bro. Listen. Randy Couture has done so much in the sport that we'll never ever see again, dude. Genuinely, this guy has had 5 title reigns. Nobody's ever. That's never gonna happen again. Nobody's gonna ever hold a UFC title on 5 separate occasions, dude. Right? The way he's able. So the way he's just, it just matter. It comes down to, like, a bit of inconsistency, but still, man, the ability to come back, win a title again after he's beaten some of the best. He's beaten, Chuck Liddell. He's beaten big guys, like, in the heavyweight division, which aren't, like, like big names and such, but still, he's also the oldest ever UFC champion at 44 years old. Could you fucking imagine a 44-year-old today winning a UFC title? Could you imagine that? I couldn't. But yeah, he came back and beat Tim Sylvia, which isn't a bad win. Tim Sylvia is he was running the heavyweight division at the time, even though, the rest of the roster wasn't really that deep, but still did it in dominating fashion as well. Came back, looked great, super old guy, but super grizzled veteran. Very awesome fighter. I do love him quite a bit. And yeah, man, he's just great. He's great. Number 17 is going to be Zhang Weili. Again, you don't want to talk about domination, dude. Zhang Weili ran through the strawweight division, man. Nobody else. Like, the Joanna Jędrzejczyk wins, the Jessica Andrade wins, the fucking, the only person she lost to in the UFC was Rose Namajunas by fluke, head kick KO, and then robbery split decision. So, and then she bounced back, won some more fights, was able to face off against Carla Esparza, completely ran through her, and then has been on the top ever since. And, you know, she has an up-and-coming fight with Valentina Shevchenko that's going to determine a lot about her GOAT status. If she's able to win, dude, then that speaks volumes about where she'll be amongst the greats. But, you know, I think she's the strawweight GOAT. I think she just is. There's not really a lot of questions about it, man. Amanda Lemos, her UFC 300 win against Yan Zhaonan, I think is how you pronounce her name. But, yeah, man, she's great. She just, you know, Talia Suarez, like, she's able to beat a variety of opponents, you know, the strikers, the grapplers, the fucking, you know, the well-rounded ones, everyone in between, you know, like, just amazing athleticism on display here from Zhang Weili. Number 16, mate, it's fucking Max Holloway, dude. Maybe this is a bit low, maybe, but, you know, I think it's just because his time at the top was relatively short compared to a lot of other people on this list here, but the consistency, man, wow, this guy was like solid number 2 featherweight for, like, after he lost his title for like another 5 years. Like, this dude was the ultimate gatekeeper, man, and that nobody got through except for a few, like, you know, a few. Beat Jose Aldo to win the belt, super impressive win, got through a few good names. I think, yeah, beat Brian Ortega in an awesome fight. You know, he's losing, like, overall when he loses, he is still losing to just the best and the best. He has one of the toughest chins out of fucking anyone in the UFC. Like, he absorbed like 3,000 strikes, never was knocked down for the longest time. You know, he went in there with guys like Justin Gaethje, made them look fucking silly. Yeah, man, but yeah, beat guys like, you know, he has some of the greatest performances you'll ever see out of any UFC fighter, man. Like, if you look at just watch the Calvin Kattar fight, dude, and just the boxing on display is stuff of legends, man. It's stuff of Hall of Famers. It's really incredible to watch this guy, you know, perform. It's always a must watch every time he fights. Yeah, the Calvin Kattar performance was fucking that's all I think about, man. The ability to talk to commentators while throwing fucking jabs and actually dodging punches is just unmatched by anyone else in the sport. So he's definitely got to be on my list at number 16 here. Number 15, Israel Adesanya. Trying to think about this dude's legacy is. I think, well, first off, I'll say he's one of my favorite fighters of the modern era, for sure. 100%. If you like take any dude's like career, if you want to take anybody's like, if you want to make a movie, like a trilogy out of anybody's UFC career, it would be of Israel Adesanya's, man. The undefeated come up, you know, with every obstacle in his path. The Kelvin Gaslams, the Robert Whitakers, the fucking Yoel Romero's, which, you know, that wasn't a great fight, but still. The undefeated road to the title, you know, the duology with Alex Pereira. I mean, I'll talk about the 5, you know, title defenses that he had, man. Like, this guy was super active champion. Defended against all, fought really good opponents, you know, a variety of times. Paulo Costa was a really great win. You know, every time he fought Robert Whitaker, it was a very solid cementing win because, again, Robert Whitaker would never lose to anyone else other than him. So it made him look like really good. You know, Jared Cannonier was a good win. Marvin Vettori. But, yeah. And then the duology with Alex Pereira. It doesn't really, like, you know, tend to your GOAT status here. This is just talk about my personal favoritism with him. But, you know, the duology of Pereira, to lose the way he did, you know, to be, like, outboxed in the final rounds, you know, contest your battle, and then come back, win with a decisive, definitive knockout win over him is just the stuff of fucking legends, man. To come back, and then even though, yeah, he then proceeded to fall off a cliff, still, dude, like, you have to pay respect. This guy's one of the most legendary middleweight champs of all time. And then just this ability as well, you know, the striking, the kickboxing, the fucking, you know, the fight IQ he has, man, is super, super awesome to see. He's really, really great. So he's my number 15. Number 14, Islam Makhachev. You know, we've never seen a lightweight like him before. I mean, I can't believe I just said that. Okay, okay, maybe we have seen a lightweight like him before, but I'm speaking in terms of like just dominate. Oh, fuck, I can't even spin this like what I've said. I'm just saying he broke the record for the most lightweight title defenses. He's beaten some of the all-time best. He reached number one on the pound for pound rankings for a good reason. Um, a lot. He's like 27-1 in the UFC. Not even 27-1. Sorry, he's only lost once in the UFC. He's on this insanely long run. He's one of the longest winning streaks in the UFC currently going. Like I said, he's beaten all the best competitors at lightweights. Decisively. Okay, not all decisively. But he shows the ability to go have wars with guys, have close fight with guys, and then also have dominating performances over some guys. He's still very clearly above a lot of the competition in lightweight today. You know, that the fight with Moicano proved that. He is one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. Obviously, he is like the spiritual embodiment of Khabib Nurmagomedov. If he was still fighting today, here he is. But yeah, man, he is one of the best. He's one of the best currently still, and he's looking to cement his legacy even more, maybe climb the ranks even more if he's able to get this win over JDM in the coming months. So we'll see how that goes for him. But he's number 14. Number 13, Stipe Miocic. I think a lot of people's ideas of like the best heavyweight of all time, dude. Super technical guy, super heavy striker. He's not really like, he never really like stood out a lot, but what he did within the heavyweight division cannot be like, you know, forgotten about. Beating Fabricio Werdum, defending the title 3 times. I wish I could fucking remember who he actually defended the title against. What if I just searched up in the middle of the review now? I'm gonna do that. Let's do this. I was looking at Jose Aldo earlier. Who has he beat? I should know this off the top of my head. He did Ngannou. He did the Alistair Overeem performance. Wow! I forgot about the Alistair Overeem performance, man. That was awesome. Yeah, he beat Daniel Cormier twice. He beat Ngannou. The comeback was awesome. Beating Mark Hunt the way he did in that fucking war. Andrei Arlovsky in a great performance. I can't believe he got a title eliminator in 2015. But yeah, Stipe Miocic is one of the GOATs. You know, the ability to defend your title 3 times at heavyweight was never done before him. So him doing it here now, like that's all you really need to cement yourself as one of the greatest heavyweights. Defend your title 3 times. No one else has done that yet. Still, he's the only guy at heavyweight to do that. But yeah, and then also, you know, two-time champ. Good stuff for him. Really good fighter. Yeah, guys, he's really good. Anyway, number 12. Valentina Shevchenko. Again, totally dominant of the flyweight division. Nobody like has even come close. Nobody's come close. Genuinely, there's such a large gap between like the rest of the division and Valentina Shevchenko here, man. Like it's insane just how far ahead, how much higher above the competition she's risen compared to anybody, dude. She's beaten literally, like, I don't know what to say. She's beaten literally everyone in flyweight that you've put in front of her. Like, she's one of the longest reigning women's champions of all time. There's just not much else to say, dude. And she's still champ. She's still going. She lost to Alex Grasso, but then came back with a draw, and then came back with a decision win. There's nothing else to say about her. Is that she is the flyweight GOAT. This is the flyweight GOAT, and so she gets number 12 on the list. You know, like, that's just it. Number 11. Alexander the Great Volkanovski. I put him here. He's just outside the top 10 because he's so close. He is so close. He's on his way to being one of the all-time GOATs. He is. He is so close. He just needs a few things. I think he needs to reach the 2,000 days as champion club. He needs, because he's on his way to, which like another title defense will probably get him there. And then, yeah, man, I think he really cements his legacy. We just need to see, like, how the fall-off goes a little bit. You know? I think, you know, I totally can't put him up here because he was utterly devastated in his fight with Islam Makhachev, and then utterly devastated by Ilya Tupuria. But still, when Tupuria left the division, Volkanovski stepped right back in. He beat Lopez, a guy who has now proven himself to still be a good fighter. So It's a fight. It's a win that's aged well. In terms of like the featherweight division, yeah, man, I think he's one of the greatest of all time there. The fact that he was so like when you look at Max Holloway, right? The fact that he was still so like Max Holloway was doing all that stuff, but he himself, Volkanovski himself, was actually really dominant and over Holloway speaks volumes. Um, like nobody really like anyone else that challenged for the belt, nobody really came close, you know. And every time and when they did, like Ortega with him in the guillotine choke, Volkanovski found a way to get through it, man. Like he in his prime, he's one of the most unstoppable fighters ever. Like you could outstrike him, you could out technique him, but he is seriously unstoppable, man, at his high. So he's so close, man. Just like one more defense. That's all I ask. One more defense, man. Like if you can reach the 2,000 days as champion club, then like you'll be in there. You'll make like probably top 5 once you get there. Going into the top 10 here, I just want to say 6 through 10 are going to be guys that I think also could be arguments for the greatest of all time, but there were just, you know, one or two things that really stopped them, really hindered them from actually being within the ranks all time of being some of the best. So number 10 is Daniel Cormier. You know, technically this makes him my heavyweight GOAT, but like for reasons we'll get into, undefeated come up. He looked amazing. He was killing everybody. He fought John Jones, lost obviously, but then when Jones had to go away, he came in, swooped in, and still showed everyone that he really was the clear second best. You know, the wins over Anthony Johnson were really proving. He beat Volkan Ozdemir, which looked really good. Like he was still he was beating guys left and right here. Like he was literally only ever losing to John Jones. That was the only guy he ever lost to in light heavyweight. Because then, while Jones was still away, again, and then Cormier was reinstated as champ. He went up to heavyweight, fought Stipe, laid him the fuck out, knocked him out cold, became a double champion. Look at this guy. Look how happy this guy is, bro. Yeah, double champion, one of like only 4 people to ever do that. Defended both belts. He was a fighting fucking champion for a while. Before he vacated the light heavyweight title, stayed at heavyweight. And yeah, man, he's just one of the all-time best. He retired at like the perfect moments. Only went like 12-3 in the UFC, something like that. Yeah, 12-3 because he lost once John Jones and then twice to Stipe. That was it, man. He beat everybody else. So yeah, he's the only thing obviously stopping him from being like within the top 5 is the fact that he lost to Jones. It's one of the most like defining losses in his career, unfortunately. It's kind of the thing that it's kind of the talking point of Cormier's career is that he lost to Jones, but he did a lot else too, like, you know, prove himself as to be one of the all-time greats. Number 9 is Dominic Cruz. Listen, man, everyone says, "Oh, Merab's the bantamweight GOAT. Merab's the bantamweight GOAT. Merab's the bantamweight." Not yet. Not yet. He does not have as many title defenses, not many title fights, title wins as Dominic Cruz. I don't care that his come up was also spectacular. Listen, he's number 2. Merab is number 2. Dominic fucking Cruz here is number 1 still. Everything that he had to go through, man. It's really just because of that. It's just like everything Cruz had to go through, man. You know, the WEC, you know, Uriah Faber, one of the greatest to I'm going to say Uriah Faber is the greatest fighter to never win a UFC championship. Cruz beat him 3 times. Defended his title amazing. He beat Demetrius Johnson over the bantamweight title. He had to vacate it because of injuries. He tore his ACL, and then he came back. He was about to win a face-off for the title again, but then he tore his other ACL, was laid off for another couple years. Came back after like one fight in like fucking 5 years. Beat TJ Dillashaw to win the title. One of the most amazing comebacks I've ever seen in my entire life. You know, just proving that, like, you know, through the entire time that he was gone, he still could have easily been champion. He could have had a Jose Aldo-esque title reign. He really was there, man. He really could have. It's just all the injuries he went through that unfortunately hinders his chance to be up above among the upper echelon of fighters. But, you know, like the TJ Dillashaw win is awesome for him. And, you know, people still talk about Cody Garbrandt, you know, and how spectacular he was that one night because he beat Dominic Cruz. So, Cruz is still one of the all-time GOATs. He's never, ever lost a 3-round fight in his entire career. That is something Merab cannot say. 7 title defenses. He's only ever lost 1 non-title fight, and it was his last ever fight against Marlon Vera. Other than that, he's his resume is fucking impeccable. His record is awesome. The guys he beat were still really good, and would go on to become champions again. So, yeah, amazing record here from Dominick Cruz. He does deserve his credits. Merab is close. I'm telling you guys, Merab is close. He's almost there. He's outside. He's just outside like this top 20 list as well, man. I'm telling you, but Dominick Cruz is still my bantamweight GOAT for those reasons. This is number 8. This might be controversial. I think this is probably the most controversial one I have so far. Francis Ngannou, number 8 all time. Listen, like, to the people who don't think that's true, I beg you plead your case right now. Was that exactly nothing? What? Why not? Why couldn't Francis Ngannou be considered like the greatest of all time? Like, I'm sure he hasn't accomplished everything that other guys have, but you know, that was due to factors outside of his control, man. You know, just pissing off Dana White. You know, but like still, when you look at everything he accomplished inside the octagon, man, insane run up to the title, and he did, you know, killing everybody. He fucking sent Alistair Overeem's Chim into like the fucking 3rd row. He did lose to Stipe pretty definitively, and then he had a really boring fight with Derek Lewis that, you know, not a lot of activity throughout that. But then he beat was it Cain Velasquez? He beat Cain Velasquez, which, you know, after a long layoff he had, isn't really impressive, but he did it in 26 seconds, which is about as good as a performance you're going to get. He then beat Junior Dos Santos, who still was also pretty old at that time, but still, minute and 11, killed him in the first round, so I think that's a pretty good win. And then the Rosenstruik win, bro. Oh my god. That Rosenstruik performance. Listen, people forget, man. People forget. Rosenstruik was 10-0 with 9 knockout wins going up against Francis Ngannou. Ngannou literally started the fight and just went like he was swimming. He just did this for 20 seconds because he knew he was going to find the chin of Rosenstruik. Rosenstruik had literally zero, like, had nothing against that. Fucking got clobbered, slumped against the cage. Ngannou wins. It's one of my favorite performances of all time because it's just so unstoppable and so menacing to see Ngannou just swing that heavily, dude. But man, yeah, again, 10-0, 9 knockout wins, gets slumped in 20 seconds by Ngannou, like, you know, and then he beats Stipe Miocic by a knockout to win the title. And then, you know, between everything that went on with the UFC, he tore his MCL, and then he had to face off against Cyril Gane, which is a former training partner, and his coach was talking a bear shit, and then his contract was about to expire, and the UFC hated him, and he tore his MCL. He still found a way to win by decision. What a guy. What a fighter, man. Genuinely, if he was still fighting the UFC today, there is a very solid chance, like a 50-50 chance he still would be champion. Genuinely. And, you know, now he's just going over, fucking around in the PFL, fucking them over, just stealing all their money, which is funny. But, yeah, man. What a fighter, man. He's one of my favorite heavyweights. Because he looks so unstoppable. Every single time he lost, it was like his own doing, you know? He was like, you know, Ngannou was the reason that he lost. But he avenged his Miocic loss, and I really wish he avenged his Derek Lewis loss, but whatever. One of the most unbeatable looking guys I've ever seen. He's number 8. Number 7, Khabib Nurmagomedov. He was so close, man. He could have. Again, another guy I think still could have been champion today if he kept fighting. Retired young, and I think that's the big, you know, thing against him, is that he just retired young. But still, man, when you look at, like, you know, on the come up and all the people that he fought, he beat McGregor, one of the most definitive losses of McGregor's career. He beat Dustin Poirier definitively. He beat Justin Gaethje definitively. And these are all guys that, you know, were still in the top upper echelon of the lightweight division today, even some of them. He just had wins that aged really well, you know. He just beat guys that, like, never really looked like, you know, that looked like they should have been champion. You know, Poirier and Gaethje are some of the greatest to have never won the title. So, yeah, the fact that he's able to definitively beat them so easily, made him look really good. Yeah, he is one of the best grappler submission guys the UFC's ever seen. You know, aside from the Ally Quinto win, which was fucking, the whole thing was just a mess. But still, won the title, defended 3 times against some of the greatest lightweights of all time, and then retired young, man. So it's just a big what if at the end of his career. But, you know, you're not going to see arguments from people saying, like, oh, Khabib shouldn't be, like, within the top upper echelons of, like, you know, goated lists. Like, but for me, you know, again, the early retirement really does damper that a lot. Number 6. Maybe this is a bit low, man. Maybe this is a bit low, but, like, God almighty. Fucking Jon Jones, man. A lot to say. I do genuinely believe, I'll say this, for one. The reason he's here below and not, like, among the top 5, he's just outside the top 5, is because I genuinely believe that Jon Jones could have held the record for the longest consecutive title reign by days in UFC history. I do genuinely believe, like, Jon Jones could have held the title for at least 10 years straight. He really, really could have, man. He was that good. The only problem is Jon Jones himself. You know, stripped of his title, got into a DUI, hit and run, doing a bunch of cocaine, doing steroids, caught twice. He won the interim title, caught of steroids, had it vacated, won the title from DC, was caught with steroids, had it vacated, came back, and then his 2018 title run was really tough, man, because, you know, he beats Anthony Smith. But Anthony Smith really could have walked away with a DQ win. He really could have. What was the guy's name? Thiago Santos? Is that the guy I'm thinking of? You know, that Thiago. I know his name's Thiago. But that was a super close fight. And then he fought Dominic Reyes, which again, should have lost. And then he fought twice after that. And, you know, he still looked good in heavyweight. I don't consider him my heavyweight GOAT, obviously. But aside from that, the reason he's number 6 is that initial title run, dude. And actually, before I move on to that, I will say a very interesting statistic I learned is that Jon Jones has never been the longest active reigning UFC champion ever. He's never once been the longest reigning champ. You know, every time he held the belt, there was always someone there that had been holding it for just longer than him. He never, out of all the days he held it, he was never like the definitive number 1 guy, number 1 longest reigning champ, which is crazy to me. But despite that, though, his first title reign, his initial run with the UFC light heavyweight championship was awesome. He beat Shogun, who would become the youngest champion ever, which is such an accomplishment. Beat guys like, he beat Lyoto Machida definitively, Chael Sonnen definitively, Daniel Cormier definitively, Glover Teixeira definitively. Yeah, man, like that. It's just the initial run. He looked like one of the greats. And he is, like, you know, he is still, like, the light heavyweight GOAT. He really is, man. Despite everything I just said about him, light heavyweight GOAT, for sure. It's just everything that, you know, behind, like, that was, you know, in the last 10 years, it's just been craziness. So, that's why he's here. Because I do genuinely believe he could have, like, even if you look at the light heavyweight guys today, I think Jon Jones could have beaten a lot of those guys. I think the only, like, out of everyone that would challenge for the title after he vacated it, Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev would have been the only problems for him. He probably would have beat Jerry, would have beat Blachowicz, he would have beaten Teixeira, he would have beaten John Malone Hill, he would have beaten all those guys. But Jon Jones is Jon Jones, man, and he ducks people, so yeah. Anyway, going into our top 5 now. These guys are the GOATs. Like, any single one of these people could be number 1. In my opinion, you could put any of these guys at number 1. Number 5, Amanda fucking Nunes, dude. Whew! Again, complete, like, what do you want me to say, dude? She's so clearly GOAT. I've seen people put Shevchenko over her. How? She's literally beaten her twice. Amanda Nunes has beaten, she's one of the only people to beat Valentina Shevchenko in the UFC. It's that and Alexa Grasso, which she avenged. She beats Valentina Shevchenko. She beats Miesha Tate in 3 minutes. Beats Ronda Rousey in less than 1 minute. Beats fucking Chris Sawberg in the first round. Like, wins, double champ. Defends against everyone. Nobody can beat her. Juliana Pena gets the fucking fluke submission win. Nunes comes back on top form. Completely dominates her for the entire fight for 5 rounds. looks great. Like, just simply no one's on her level. Again, it's just like Shevchenko. Nobody was on her level. Nobody is on her level. She still could come back, and if she does fight Kayla Harrison, I do think she has a good chance of winning the title again. But nobody is on her level. Like, we all know this, right? Like, I think it's pretty obvious. Yeah, when people, like, I think she is one of the first true women's MMA fighters. I think she's kind of like, yeah, she's like that, you know? I feel like when you compare, like, the beginning of the MMA to the female MMA, I feel like Ronda Rousey's more of, like, what's his name? The Royce Gracie of it all. Because, you know, he's the one that showing, like, which style actually works the best, and it was the judo. But then Amanda Nunes is the fucking Frank Shamrock, you know? Or the Baz Rutten, the very first real, like, modern day looking women's MMA fighter to come in here and just dominate over everyone at that time and still look as good as she did back then. So, absolute GOAT here. Number 4. Again, okay, people are probably going to hate me again because I put him over Volkanovski. Dude, Jose Aldo, man, that fucking early... Dude, you weren't there! Look at that list, bro. Cub Swanson, 8-second flying knee KO. Uriah Faber kicked his leg into shit, man. Fucking becomes the UFC featherweight champ. Beats Chad Mendes, who was looking unstoppable, twice. He beat Korean Zombie. Nobody remembers the Korean Zombie win, dude. I remember the Korean Zombie win. Before, he beat your favorite, so don't call him not the GOAT. He beat Kenny Florian. He beat fucking everyone, dude. That's what I was looking at the list. I was like, look at all these fucking amazing wins he has. People, like, discredit these wins. These are amazing wins, dude. Unbelievable stuff here, man. Again, he held the title forever. He was like the forever champion. And even when he did lose to McGregor, he bounced back. He beat Frankie Edgar, dude. He beat one of the all-time best lightweight champions in Frankie Edgar. He came back. When he lost to McGregor, he beat Edgar again for the interim title. Got the world championship again. So, I just don't see... I don't see world when you look at, like, the entire domination over the fucking early 2010s that Jose Aldo had. And even if you look at his WEC stuff, like, he's just the featherweight GOAT right now. Volkanovski, like I said, Volkanovski is so close, man. If he reaches that 2,000 day mark, he's probably going to go over Aldo. He probably will. But, wow, what a fighter. I think the fact that he's still really going and is still competitive in 2025 speaks volumes to, like, you know, just how good of a fighter he is, man. Like, he's a Hall of Famer for a reason, dude. Unbelievable fighter. Truly unbelievable. Number 3. I think. Yeah, number 3. Demetrius Johnson. Again. Yeah, the flyweight GOAT by all extents, bro. They're not even like they're bad they're not even bad. It's not even just like a women's thing where it's like, oh, there wasn't any competition. But yo, bro, Kyoji Horiguchi was awesome. John Dodson was awesome. The fucking Ray Borg performance. It's all about, like, if you look at the performances of Demetrius Johnson and just how he was fucking on people, dude. This guy was so smooth with everything he did. His grappling was awesome. His striking was awesome. He had a win over, he beat Henry Cejudo as well. But, like, god damn, bro. Just watch the Ray Borg fight. Ray Borg and Kyoji Horiguchi, man. Like, this guy, Demetrius Johnson, literally holds, like, almost every single record in flyweight division. Still, today. He holds, like, almost every record. He has the record for the most consecutive title defenses. He's fucking, like, yeah, again, he has every record in the flyweight history. He had the amazing Ray Borg fucking suplex armbar, which looked awesome. He beat Horiguchi with an armbar in the very last second. He's just one of the all-time GOATs, man. Like, you know, it's just of his division. He just really is he's the flyweight GOAT, and he did it better than anyone else ever could. So he's number 3 for me. Number 2. Look, I really wanted to put him number 1. I really did want to put him on. This is my favorite fighter of all time. Anderson Silva is my favorite. Okay, he is one of my favorites. He's not my favorite. He's probably number 2. But wow, dude, Anderson Silva was one of those guys that just made it look so easy. He just had such an unbelievable understanding of the mixed martial arts that he just made it look easy, dude. Not only, you know, he held the title against everyone. It wasn't the most stacked division, you know, but if you just look at the individual performances that he had, and, you know, like the win over, you know, the fights against Chael Sonnen, the comeback he had, and then the second fight, the domination that he had, the ability to adapt to his fighters, to his opponents. One of my favorite, my favorite performance of any MMA fighter of all time is Anderson Silva versus Forrest Griffin, dude. Like, this guy was so unbelievably locked in. Just, he knew where he was throwing, where it was going. It's like he could see into the future. It literally, he fought like he knew what was happening. Like, he fought like a chess fighter, like a chess match, where he just knew five steps ahead. He was 5 steps ahead of every fighter. He knew what was gonna happen, dude. He was so calculated with all of his movements, man. And, even despite, like, him not having a strong competition with some other, like, long-range guys, he has a record for the most consecutive victories in UFC, which seemingly no one's going to beat. He has, I don't think he had the record for the most consecutive title defenses, which, again, no one looks like he's going to beat that. He's just one of the best, man. He's one of the best. The only reason I don't have him number one is because of competition stuff, and I feel like I would be a hypocrite if I didn't put John Jones in my top 5, but then also put Anderson Silva as my number 1. He also failed a drug test, unfortunately, so a bit of a stain on his career, and then he had a pretty bad fall off after the Weidman losses. So it is what it is, because number 1, best MMA fighter of all time. It's not a question. This is everyone else's. This is literally everyone else's number 1 as well. What do we even have to say, bro? The competition, the skill on display, the fucking ability to come back and beat everyone that he's ever lost to, the time off away to then jump back into a title fight and beat Michael Bisping for it, 2 division championship, 3 titles in total. It's Georges St. Pierre, dude. It's just, again, you want to talk about, like, understanding of the sport, man. Like, he just looks so technical. He was so technical with it all, man. Just complete dominance over, like, a really good welterweight division, man. Let me look at some of these wins. Let me just go back and look at some of these wins. I remember the Dan Hardy performance. Like, he completely fucked on him. I remember Nick Diaz, Josh Koscheck, Jake Shields. Like, he was untouchable. Carlos Condit, untouchable. Like, he lost. Okay, we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, man, BJ Penn, Thiago Alves was looking great at the time. He beat them all definitively. And then even when he had the close Johnny Hendricks fight, which he arguably should have lost, he came back after 4 years, beat Michael Bisping, became the middleweight champion, and was just to prove us, like, hey man, I still got this. I still got it. But yeah, that's my number 1. Greatest of all time. No question about it. And that's my list. What'd you think of it? Argue about it. Comment section down below. Talk about how badly I was at explaining all of them. How you disagree with all the points that I made. But how Islam, I've never seen a fighter like Islam. I feel like that clip's never going to be like, fucking leave me, dude. It's going to be taken out of context. Hopefully not. But that's my list.